1 minute until showtime.
Ah! That's pretty good.
103.
That's good.
103.
That's
you,
good.
You think it'll let it go?
I think so. But,
Okay.
it's
All
up
right.
to you.
We'll let it go this one time.
You rule.
103.
Okay.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show, live from racing's North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show, with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
Hey, all right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. And
good
hope you're doing well today. It's kind of brisk today, isn't it? Feels
It
good,
is.
doesn't
It's
it?
a nice Friday.
Yeah.
Nice Friday. Nice white caps out there. It's pretty.
Oh, yeah. This is lovely. Makes you want to run around naked.
Something like that. Yeah. That's scary, though, with me. So, don't go by my picture window at the condo because
Yeah, so anyway, we thank you all for being here and everyone out there. We thank you for tuning in. And we got our guest didn't show up today.
that's right.
So we're going to do something a little different. This
Yeah.
is going to be kind of funny. We're kind of taking this and we're winging it.
We winged. We were good at that.
Yeah. Well, being the professionals we are,
That's it.
it shouldn't be any problem, right?
As good at bullshitters as we
Oh,
are.
there
yeah.
you go. That's it. That's exactly right. Yeah. So
Great,
anyway,
great format. Buzz came up with a great idea. So check it out.
You know, this past week, Bobby Allison passed away, and everybody loved Bobby. And I gotta believe that everybody has a Bobby Allison story. So if you care to come up one by one and tell your Bobby Allison story, we'd
great.
be happy to hear it.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I know,
I have a couple. I know you do as well.
Oh, yeah.
But what a class individual, and they had an article this past week on Yahoo News about how he waited around and signed autograph after autograph after autograph, and somebody asking for another one after he was done, and they apologized, but he said, I'd really like if I could get one, and he said, sure, and he signed it for that individual, and that individual said, that's amazing that you took the time to come back and do this for me. He said, well, you know what? If it wasn't for you and that person over there, I wouldn't be who I am.
There you go.
You guys
he got
made
it.
me. Yeah, he got it.
Yep.
Some of these prima donnas, and I don't mean to, but some of these kids now, it's tough to get an autograph out of them. They don't make themselves available like they used to.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
a shame.
Yeah, that was a whole different generation back then, for sure.
Saw where NASCAR signed a $7.7 billion media contract with
Yeah.
TNT.
7.7
Was it 7.7 billion, I believe,
billion with a B.
with a B, yes.
Amazing.
So our boy, he did good. Our,
Yep.
the CEO of NASCAR, I'll tell
Yep.
you.
Yep.
What a great guest he was too. Very humbling.
Oh man, he was great. Did you see him the other day awarding the trophy?
No, I did not see. it.
Yeah, he was really good. Steve Phelps, what a great guy,
Yeah.
and just a very very nice individual.
Yeah. Came up and did the show and said he'd come back anytime we wanted him.
Yep.
And I think he will.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'll guarantee it.
So I think what happens, Buzz, probably not very often, but some people are afraid of the microphone.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens. Maybe that's what happened to our guest here. He just thought about it and said, I can't do this.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
I don't know. He's our guest, so he's a very outgoing kind of fella, and he deals with the public, and pretty colorful cat.
Maybe he
But
forgot.
He might have forgotten.
Yeah, never
You
know.
never can tell. It happens in the best of families,
Yeah.
you know.
Anyway, I saw, although the format of NASCAR is going to be spread over several medias, Time Warner and some of the others, they're still going to broadcast the Daytona 500 live, so we don't have to pay for it.
Oh, good.
Although there is some races that we're going to have to pay for. Talladega is one of them next year, and
that sounds
a
good.
few others. I think maybe not Martinsville, but
Atlanta.
No, the track that they're returning to.
Oh, Rockingham.
Rockingham.
Yeah, that'll be great, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Rockingham. We haven't seen a race there since about 2004.
I don't think I would pay as a past owner. I've been to so many races as you have too.
Yeah.
And a lot of our crowd has. I don't think I would pay.
Yeah.
Myself. So.
Yeah, that might be kind of rough. I'd have probably a tough time parting with those dollars.
Yeah. You'd go out and move a mattress or do something, wouldn't you?
That's right. Yeah. But then I'd have to find somebody to sue.
You ever have another mattress to move? You call Gary.
Okay. You could count on that. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's for sure. But,
so Bobby Allison stories. Does anybody have one? Come on up to the mic and let's get this.
Who's got a Bobby? Hey, here comes Rich. Do you have a Bobby Allison story, Rich?
Rich has always got something to say.
This is going to be good.
Yeah. Couldn't start off with anybody better than Rich Combs.
Good morning.
Morning, Rich.
I love that you're doing this format because it changes things around and gives us a chance to talk about Bobby Allison and other things. Being a kid growing up, I started at like about 10 or 11 years old. Poor boy, we didn't have a TV. We lived in a bad house, the whole bit. Sunday afternoon, we had no money. Yeah. I turned on the radio and listened to NASCAR. I was hooked at 10 years old, and I've been hooked, and I'm 77 now, so
wow.
I'm 67 years of hooked on NASCAR.
All
right, so that's a pretty good. And I'm mad the way they're handling things, but as a businessman, I understand why they're doing their business the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
So I can't complain about that.
Yeah.
But Bobby Allison, he sort of became the guy that I followed. I don't know why. He just had a character. He had a personality that you liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Newport News, Virginia. And, of course, you got Langley Field there, there on the site where the CIA is and the whole bit.
Yeah.
And they got a little track, and I'm sure you've probably been there.
Oh, sure.
And, of course, that was on the tour.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was there every time they ran. I was there every Friday night, Saturday night, whenever they were running. And then all of a sudden, the big Fords were running. They were running 427s.
Oh, my.
Boy, they could put out some things. But they couldn't rev up real quick.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get around. And they, you had a big old Galaxy or Fairlane or something. And Bobby Allison came up and says, I'm going to run a Chevelle, 64 Chevelle, and I'm going to put a 327 in it. I'm going to give up 100 cubic inches, and I'm going to run this little car. And everybody thought, oh, my God, he's made a major mistake. What they didn't realize, in a place like Langley Field, he could get around the corners because he had a shorter wheelbase. That little Chevy engine would rev faster, and he kicked their butts.
Yeah.
And I watched that happen and followed him because of that. Right. And I think a lot of other people followed him. It came 1965. He changed the grill in the car, and everybody thought he had a new car. He was an innovative racer that made it through. But he sparked up the heart of a young man and gave me that thrill of watching him and following him. And he was on the show. The first time Colleen and I saw this show, 4 or 5 years ago, you had Donnie and Bobby both on, and you asked for questions. We had a seat. We were in the very back, two-seater back there. You couldn't hear. I said, you got questions? And I put in a question, and you guys picked it up. And I asked him about what made you go to the 327 Chevelle. And he just sort of, that's what you need to do to race. It was just matter of fact, and everybody else is looking at it and saying, wow. So that's my Bobby Allison story.
All right. Thank you, Rich. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, Bobby brought an awful lot of people to the sport, that's for sure. Yeah. He finally got his 85th win here a few weeks ago. And Mike Heldon and Jim France presented him with a framed certificate. And the deal was back in 1972, at Bowman Gray Stadium, they had what they called a Grand American race, which was there might have been a East Coast race. Anyway, they would run the Cup cars with the Mustangs and the Camaros and stuff like that. So Bobby won the race, and they didn't give him the win. and they never did tell him what the problem was. And they didn't give the race to Richard Petty, who finished second. So it's a race that nobody won.
It was a strange deal.
Yeah, yeah, and it might have been just a deal that they were just kind of giving him the old shaftaroo there, because he would tell the emperor when he had no clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have any problem, kind of stirring up things at NASCAR headquarters here.
That was the thing
Daytona.
about Bobby. He told it like it was.
Oh, yeah.
Even up until the end.
Yeah.
But what a great soul, even towards the end of his life, when we had
Yeah.
him on the last time.
Uh-huh.
So humble. I mean, I told him, of course, Donnie always had a tendency to take over the microphone.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
true.
told Bobby beforehand, I said, listen, this is going to be yours and my show.
Yeah.
I said, we're going to take over. And he just kind of grinned and laughed a little bit. As it turned out, we did kind of dominate a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And he really enjoyed it. He told me after the show, he says, thank you. He says, I really enjoyed this show.
That's neat.
And that was cool. Just,
What a great guy.
yeah. The story that impressed me about Bobby is he was a great Christian guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it. And, we all know what he lost. The sport gave him a lot of losses. Clifford, Davey.
Yeah.
Lost both his sons. And then his wife divorced him after that. Of course, they did end up getting back together. But I saw him at Daytona several years back and was walking from the trailer area where I was, and I was walking. He was coming out towards the trailer area. And I said hello to him, how you doing? And he said, oh, I'm hanging in there. He says, it's been kind of rough. And that was after he lost his wife.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, Bobby? I said, you're on third base heading for home. And I said, it won't be too long. You'll be seeing him again.
Oh, yeah.
And it made his day. He just put this big smile on his face, and he thought about it for just that centimeter of a second, like, hey, that's going to be a good reunion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he always thanked me for that.
Yeah, great reunion for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. We went to Judy's funeral when she passed away, and it was a Christian or a Catholic high mass. And we sat in toward the back and got there kind of late, and who shows up? David Reagan, who we knew pretty well. So David came and sat with us, and there's a lot of pomp and circumstance and fanfare with the Catholic high mass. And David said, "This ain't no Baptist funeral, is it?" I said, "No, it certainly is not."
Yeah.
But Bobby, he was such a giving person, and he always went out of his way to help folks, and it didn't matter who you were or what you were, and he was just always there for anybody who needed him for anything.
Buzz, I think we lived through the aspect of NASCAR that the personalities that were created from the sport back in the day were such of great magnitude.
Oh,
The personalities, the Pettys, the Allisons, the list goes on and on. I don't think we have those personalities today. Does the crowd agree? Not knocking NASCAR, okay, or these kids that race this day and age, but we don't have that kind of personality that we have with a Richard Petty or a Davey or Donnie Allison, Cale Yarborough.
Yeah.
I don't think we have that. I want to hear what the audience has to say, so please feel free to come up and tell us what you think.
Yeah, anybody who's got a story, come on up. How about Ron Pasecki? Ron, you got one?
Larry's got one.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Ron was here we go. After Larry. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah. Beer's on me today, by the way. I heard what happened last week.
Thank you, Gary.
My pleasure.
I love beer. I love Gary now for buying beer.
Yeah.
I don't really have a Bobby story, but I have something that Liz Allison said at Bobby's passing, and that was something that really touched me. She said that everyone that knew Bobby is a better person for having known him. Mm-hmm. That says an awful lot for the man.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
They'll never say that about me.
I asked Bobby one time, I said, do you ever ask God why you got all the bad stuff? And he said, no. He said, I really never have thought about that because then I'd have to ask him why he gave me all the good stuff. So he said, this is just how it is.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a pretty profound statement.
Yeah, that's
right
a whole different aspect. And he did have as many bad times as he had good.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. When you talk about the sport that took away your two sons.
Oh, yeah. And then took his career away, too, really.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Zetta. Miss Zetta Baker.
Hey,
what you got
Zetta,
there?
where you been, girl? Yeah. Good to see you again.
Thank you. I first met him in '94, whenever I put together the first parade of the Living Legends of Auto Racing. He was there. Miller had him brought in to be part of the parade. And then I got permission to give out an award in memory of Davey and Clifford Allison from him. And we were doing that at the Victory Lane Racing Association. And he came up, him and Judy came in. We didn't know they were coming. So he was good at surprising people. And back to the Roots, they came to that banquet, or one of the banquets. We didn't know they were coming.
I'll be darned. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it was pretty special.
Yeah, he's very humble guy. He had a really good deal with Miller Beer. You know, he won the championship with Miller High Life on the car. And there was a restaurant in Mooresville that he really liked, but he liked the food, but he couldn't get them to handle Miller Beer. And he finally told the owner one day, he said, look, if you can't get Miller Beer in here, I'm not coming back. And the guy got Miller Beer in there for him.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good sacrifice on his part to make
Hey,
happen.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have us a break here in a minute or two, and then we'll come back to all your stories. I think this is going to be a pretty good deal here.
Yeah. So we ended the season. You know, it didn't hurt my feelings that Joey won his third championship.
No, I thought it worked out all right.
You know, I thought it did.
And the way he kind of backed into it was kind of interesting, you know.
Yeah. And, Joey Logano's not a crier. He doesn't bitch. He doesn't complain. He just goes out and does his job week in, week out. Got a great family. Got a great history in racing, you know. And, he's very dedicated, Roger Penske, because Roger's been devoted to him.
Yep.
Of course, he brought a lot of money to the his dad, I guess, brought a lot of money to Penske in the very beginning. But, boy, what a great marriage it's been between those two.
Third championship.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And only nine guys have 3 championships?
Yeah.
And I think there's 12 that have more.
Yeah.
So he's in very rare company for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to take our first break, and we'll be right back with Who Knows Who.
Gary and Buzz. Yeah.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. Let Aloha Marine get you on the water with huge discounts on great brands like Bayliner, Carolina Skiff, Hurricane, Key West, and Regal. Pay as little as $169 a month with 10% down and approved credit. Don't wait. Get to Aloha Marine, 1700 North Nova Road, Holly Hill, Monday through Saturday. 47 years and always better than boat show prices. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
I can't hear you now.
You can't hear me now.
No? What's wrong with these crazy things?
All right, let me try this.
Try those again.
Go back to this one again.
Yeah.
That was working pretty good a minute ago, but I don't know what happened here. All right. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Great. Yeah, this segment's being brought to you locally by Staples on International Speedway Boulevard. Anything for the office, they can take care of it for you. And also the Legends of Racing Radio Facebook page. If you want to watch us live, go to YouTube. And, Danny, is that right? All right. Yeah, go to YouTube, and then you can check us out an hour later when we post it on Facebook. So if you want to check out the show today, when you get home, just go ahead and go to Facebook, and it'll be there. And we have Mr. Bill from the great up north there. Yeah. You got a Bobby Allison story? Hey, Bill.
I do have a Bobby Allison story. Buzz, check me out. Bobby Allison came to New England quite a few years ago, and he introduced Pro Stocks to New England. They weren't hobby cars. They weren't novice cars. They were big-time race cars. And I believe that he won at Oxford Plains, Maine. They're a big show up there. But all those tracks up there for years and years ran Pro Stocks, and many of them still do, which also led to late models because the Pro Stocks were a lot more money. But they were Camaros and things of that nature. So he introduced Pro Stocks, and they're still alive and well in many places. That's my Bobby Allison story.
Okay. And did Bobby show him how to do it?
Oh, he sure did. He brought car and everything and showed them how to build them and what they should look like and the rough rules for the whole thing, what you could run and what you couldn't run.
Yeah.
And they were basically metric cars, and then tube cars came along later on. But they're all very technical, and it just introduced a whole new line of race cars. Places like Riverside Park and Stafford and all those places ran Pro Stocks for years.
Right. Yeah, well, he was such an engineer. Yeah, he was just a natural-born engineer. And I know we had a friend, Joe Mihalik, out of Pittsburgh, who raced in the Cup. And he ran home-built cars, for a couple of seasons. And then his owner got him a Bobby Allison car. He said, man, that was like driving a Cadillac. He said the difference was unbelievable. The way it handled and just everything about the car was just tremendous. And Bobby was really ahead of his time when it came to building cars there. Yeah.
I never realized how popular racing was in the actual far east of the country. Up where Bill's from, until Ryan Priest started driving for us.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I started hearing some of the stories, but the east has always been a popular site or hub for auto racing in general.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's been some great drivers that have come up from the Northeast, the tri-state area, and also New England. And some of the best drivers, Richie Evans, came out of New York. So NASCAR isn't just a southern sport for sure. Tony, hey. Hey. What do we got, Tony?
Yeah. I don't particularly have a Bobby story, but I'd like to hear one. He was racing in South Florida, but he's synonymous with the Alabama gang.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
Well, he talked about it on the show here. That he was from Miami, and he and Red Farmer and Donnie and a whole bunch of the other guys, Gil Hearn, people like that, they were all out of Miami, and they were doing okay. Hialeah, and he'd go to Palm Beach, and then they'd go all the way down to Key West. There was a track in Key West of all places. But anyway, he said that they decided to run up in Alabama and all in that area right in there just to see what they could do. And he said, man, this was easy pickings. He said, we just cleaned up. So he decided to move there back in the early 60s.
Hueytown.
Yeah, Hueytown, outside of Birmingham. And he went ahead and set up shop there, and, boy, the rest is history. And the Alabama gang, that name was given to him by Jack Ingram.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people thought that it was Ken Squire, the announcer, but Jack Ingram was running around Alabama there, too, and he made the statement one time when he saw the whole bunch of them coming to the track. He said, oh, here comes that damn Alabama gang, and it stuck. Yeah. And it's still known as the Alabama gang. Yeah, they're losing them one by one, unfortunately. Yeah.
Man, they used to pack this Talladega Stadium, man.
Oh, boy.
When Allison's came to town.
Yes, sir.
It was packed.
Yep.
And they had a fan base.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Bobby was one of 12 kids. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
The Allisons went forth and multiplied, just like the Bible told them to do.
Good, strong Catholic family.
Yep.
We asked him on our last show, we asked them both what his parents thought about him racing whenever they found out that he was racing.
Yeah.
They weren't really fond of it.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
But I bet they became fond of it. But think about it. I mean, that accident he had, good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some unbelievable accidents.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he did live as long as he did.
Oh, my gosh. He should have been taken out a long time before he did. He had a wreck at Rockingham in '76 that rang his bell pretty good. He was driving for Penske, and he flipped down the backstretch. And then not long after that, he was driving a Hornet. He built a Hornet into a modified, and he was running up in Elko, Minnesota, on a little half-mile track, and he hit the front stretch wall, and he said that was the worst wreck he ever had, and he almost didn't survive that one.
Yeah.
But he came back from that, and then, of course, he had the bad wreck there at Pocono. And for 20 points, can you tell me who ran into him that day?
I cannot.
No, the guy's name was Giacomo Giacomo.
Really?
Yeah, and he was Giacomo Giacomo Jr. His dad was a driver. And Bobby started near the back of the pack, and he had a slow leak in one of his tires and got up into the second turn, and the darn tire let go, and he spun right in front of Jocko. Jocko had nowhere to go and just drilled him right in the side there.
Yeah.
And Bobby laid near death for quite a long time. And he always had balance problems after that. They put a shunt in his neck there, to drain the fluid off his brain. And he had a tough time of it for the rest of his life, but he was never too busy or in too much pain to help somebody.
I was surprised how he kept his wits of himself. I mean,
Yeah.
he could still tell stories even after that accident.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pocono.
his memory was fantastic.
Yeah, never lost it, did he?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, sure didn't. Yeah, he was quite a guy. RP, do you have a story about Bobby? This is Ron Pisecki, everybody.
Yeah,
And,
where you
hey,
been?
it's good to have you back, buddy.
Always good to have him back in town.
Ron was an air traffic controller here in Daytona, and I'm sure that you crossed paths with Bobby more than a few times.
Yeah, a few times we crossed paths. I got introduced into NASCAR and stuff because of a neighbor of mine, Tim Sullivan.
Oh, yeah.
He lived 2 or 3 houses down, and he would always have all kind of people over the house. And he'd call me every day or two, come down and do this, help him with that. And one day I was out working in the yard, all dirty and grubby and stuff. He called me up, said, "Come down, I need to do something." So I walk in the house, and there's Bobby and Judy and Davy and Clifford and Bonnie and Carrie.
Oh, my gosh.
And he knew that I wanted to meet Bobby because Bobby flew and I was their traffic controller.
Uh-huh.
And I talked to him on the radio, and Rusty and all the other guys flew Kale. So one of the best stories I have is Bobby was getting a new Piper Aerostar 700P pressurized, and it was flown up from Vero Beach and landed in Daytona. And there was a Chekhov pilot and one of the vice presidents of Piper Aircraft. So he asked me if I wanted to go for a ride. So I said, sure. He's up in the front with the Chekhov pilot. I'm in the middle seat, the second row, and the vice president's in the third row. So we take off. We're heading to the north, and I'm talking to the vice president. And I knew Bobby liked to roll airplanes. He liked to do rolls.
Did he really?
Yeah, and here I am, an FAA person, and
Not supposed to do that.
I'm talking to the vice president. All of a sudden, I get this feeling, and I closed my eyes, and I waited. He did a slow roll, so I waited, make sure we were back to level. So if I was ever questioned, I could truthfully say I did not see Bobby Allison roll that airplane. That's one.
That's a great story.
That's great. Thank you, Ron.
Ron.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby, he liked to flip that plane. That was one of his signature rolls there. If you go to Talladega to the museum there, they have that plane on display out in the courtyard. And that was a pride of his life, was that plane. He loved that thing. That was really something. But
Never bought another airplane after that one.
No.
I don't think, yeah.
No, he got to a point where he really couldn't
Yeah. And
fly anymore.
from what I hear, he did not want Davy to get that helicopter.
No, he or his wife both didn't want him to mess with that darn helicopter.
Yeah.
And what a shame. He was on the ground. He actually had landed, and the tail rotor had hit the chain link fence, and it shot the helicopter up in the air, and it came down, and he had to hold on, but his neck, his head, he hit his head, and there was nothing to do. Red Farmer was in the helicopter with him. And he was able to brace himself, and he got out. But Davey couldn't make it. Davey lived for about a day or so. But, well, what a shame.
Yeah. Wow. You think about all
Yeah.
negativity of the deaths and the accidents of.
And you wonder why so much, you know?
Yeah.
It's really something. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back, and who knows who's coming up next?
Hey, Larry, grab me a Pabst, will you? Pabst Blue Ribbon.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's Original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A and Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's Original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Thanks to you, the original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill has been voted top 10 beach bar in Florida year after year after year. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. About halfway through there, and everyone out there, we appreciate that. A little change in format today, and I hope you're enjoying it. We're remembering a really special person. And another special person passed away this week. I was really shocked to find out today that a lady named June Wentz passed away. And that might not be a household name, but her father was Red Vogt, the great superstar mechanic of the early days. He used to build cars for the race drivers and for the rum runners and the moonshiners in Atlanta. And Red is the guy who named NASCAR. He's the guy who came up with the name NASCAR. And that was his claim to fame. And what a neat guy he was. He had a shop here in Daytona out behind the Speedway on Bellevue back when I was still in high school. And me and a buddy of mine rented a shop that was right next to his. And we got to go over and hang out with him every once in a while. And Olin Hopes has some great Red Vogt stories. I mean, great stories. And Red's one of his little sayings was, a farting horse will never tire. A farting man is the man to hire.
Yeah.
And he loved to fart.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Incredible. So, Larry, how you doing there, bud? Oh, he's delivering.
Delivering,
okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah.
Well, he was at the meeting at Streamliner, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He sure was.
I remember seeing him, there at the picture with Bill France. And,
Oh, yeah, he was there. Tony.
Well, it's not about Bobby. But you guys haven't discussed, and I kind of want to hear from Gary as a past owner and part owner, the Martinsville penalties, specifically Ross and Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace, and they included a executive from the teams. And it seems like in the off season they're going to figure out how to gig a manufacturer. What do you guys think of that?
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a basketball game, a pick and roll. Okay? Guy picks a player, kind of blocks him. Guy comes around, gets the feed, makes a two-pointer. Okay? In my opinion, it's part of the sport. They're taking all the fun out of it. I don't know. With the rules and regulations, I don't know. There has to be, at some point, you got to let some things go. And I feel like this is one of those things. They're digging very, very deep, in my opinion. Talk to Ross. He wasn't fined personally, but, suspension for his head guy.
Yeah.
And Bubba Wallace and all them. I don't know. They're digging deep. NASCAR's digging deep. I don't know, man. That's a tough call. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if they're going to ever go after the manufacturers. That's their bread and butter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to piss off GM? You want to piss off Ford?
No, you want to do that. No, but
kind of shit where you eat.
That's exactly right. So we, they're going to go ahead and find the execs and the crew chiefs and all that sort of thing, and they even find the spotter. Brandon McReynolds.
Right.
He even got nailed there on the thing.
It's a tough call. I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks about Rich and Mike and some of you guys. I mean, it's a tough gig. But I mean, it's human nature. Kind of. You're out there, and your buddy's ahead in the race. Maybe if I get up in the way of the second place car. Maybe I can bind him up for maybe 2 tenths or 4 tenths or whatever the number is. Make a difference. They're digging deep. I don't know. I say let it go, but they say differently. They're trying to overthink themselves, and I don't know if that's good or bad for the sport. Listen, let's face it. We all love racing. Everybody here that comes to this show week in, week out. You have a great admiration and a love for racing, for NASCAR. We all know, unfortunately, that it's a dying sport. We know that. I'm surprised that the media, that NASCAR was paid the $7.7 billion, in my opinion. But that goes to tell you that people are staying home and watching the races. They're no longer going to the tracks. That's how come I've told you, week in and week out, you see all these NFL stadiums packed to the gills. Every damn one of them. And NASCAR can't feed one. They can't pack one out other than Talladega. Bristol doesn't sell out anymore. Daytona does, but Daytona sells out because they don't have the seats on the backstretch anymore. That 200,000 people are gone. So then they say they have a sellout. Unfortunately, they've done a lot of things that have been detrimental and harmful to the sport as far as I'm concerned. I can say that now. I'm a past owner. I don't have to worry about it. I'm past. They don't care what I think. What do you think?
I think it's pretty interesting. I think everybody has an opinion for sure. And it's going to be interesting now. There's controversy about the playoff deal there too.
Looks like they're going to change it somewhat.
Could be.
Hopefully for the better. Like I said, I don't think that somebody should get into the chase because they win one of the crown jewel races. I don't think that's fair. Nothing against Harrison Burton. He's a fine young man. But I don't think it was fair for him to be, put into that situation.
Interesting.
In my opinion. So I don't know. Daytona sells out. Listen, I still get excited. I still watch the races. I don't watch them lap in and lap out. I think Mike told me last week that he watches the last 15 or 20 minutes, of it. And I thought, hey, that's pretty damn cool. So I started doing that for the last couple of weeks, and it's been satisfying. But I can't sit there and watch a truck race. I can't watch an Xfinity race like I did. I just don't have that interest.
Oh, well, I'm a big truck fan. I like the trucks.
Yeah,
I think they were fine. And that run last week by Justin Allgaier was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
The way he came from the back, I mean, that was one of the best races I think I've ever seen.
Glad to see him win a championship.
Finally.
If anybody ever deserved it, Junior Motorsports, they've stuck by that kid, and he's been there race in and race out. I mean, he puts his guts on the track.
Oh, yeah. Plus, he's my wife's
it.
favorite, too.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, dear?
Yeah.
She loves her little Justin. Yeah, but he drove his heart out. He sure did. Speaking of driving your heart out, how about Ryan Blaney? He needed medical attention after that race.
Yeah.
He was really giving it all he could. And but Joey was hooked up.
Yes,
and that's just the way it goes,
Yeah. Gave it a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was exciting. They always seem to land on their feet.
Yeah.
NASCAR does. I wonder how long they can continue.
Yeah, it does make you wonder.
People will always like the fact that it's racing. I think there will always be a group of people. I worry about the millennials at this point in time. We're the baby boom population. We're dying off. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. They got new stuff coming up to keep us old-timers interested, like bringing back Rockingham. They're going to run Rockingham next year. They're going to run the Busch Clash at Bowman Gray, which should be very interesting. It'll be like kind of like the Coliseum, but yet not like the Coliseum. It'll be different, you know. And that's a major part of NASCAR's heritage is that track there too. So that's going to placate a lot of us old timers. But there's still some things they need to iron out.
Right.
Yeah.
And we talked a couple weeks ago, about NASCAR doing something like the 24 hours of Daytona.
Yeah.
Doing a format like that. For the Daytona drivers, for the Cup drivers.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting and bring something to the table.
You sure
they
would.
could use the track at Daytona. It's right here. People would come.
That's right. I believe they would.
Yeah. And I think they draw a good crowd. I really do.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Who Knows What.
Who knows what?
That's right.
I like that.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing Radio Show. Daytona Flea and Farmers Market is still the one for great savings and the best variety. Whether you need flowers and trees for your home or you're looking for great prices on Daytona Beach souvenirs, the market is the place to go. The market features 1,000 booths, 2 air-conditioned malls, a restaurant, and 9 snack shacks. Hops Grill features gourmet burgers and garden blend salads. Treat yourself to a great variety of brat and hot dog creations at the Dog House, or enjoy a refreshing drink at the Seltzer Oasis. The market is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and is 90% undercover, so you can shop rain or shine. There's never a charge for parking or admission. Enjoy our monthly classic car cruise-in on the first Saturday of every month, and garage sale weekend, the third weekend of every month. See all we have to offer at DaytonaFleaMarket.com or like us on Facebook. Discover Daytona's most unique shopping experience, the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, just a mile west of the Speedway. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing Radio Show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
All righty, we're back again. We got a surprise guest just came in here. This is Mr. Mike Condon, who is a member of the great Hendrick Motorsports team. And you're in town slumming, I guess, aren't you?
We just wanted to get away for a little vacation time and
Well,
wound
there
up
you
here
go.
of all places.
And
so.
here we put you to work.
I know. This is very unexpected. So
Isn't that
I'm gonna
amazing?
try not to embarrass myself too bad.
You're going to do just fine.
He's a Carolina boy, in case you can't tell.
Just a little bit.
What do you do at Hendrick?
Well, I work on the automotive group side, so
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
with the race team.
Okay.
No, but we also do the Goodies Dash Series reunion once a
Oh,
year.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, we do it there at Hendrick Motorsports.
Mm-hmm.
Usually have a pretty good crowd.
Yep.
It's just kind of my little tribute to the Dash Series and all those
Yeah.
guys that participated.
Which was a great series, and it
was.
was just kind of left high and dry there, you know. So it's great that you're keeping it alive.
Yeah.
That's really neat. And you and our old pal Tommy Knox, I guess you got some stories to tell, don't you?
Not that I can tell in a mixed crowd, so probably better not do that.
The thing about the Goodies series, there are a lot of good drivers, a lot of Cup drivers that competed.
Oh,
in
sure.
The Goodies series came up through it. Mark Martin.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett, Mikey Waltrip.
Hutch Strickland, Ronnie Thomas.
That's right.
Yeah, a bunch of those guys.
Yeah. So you, how did you get involved in the first place?
Well, I drove myself at the short track level when I was about 16 years old and raced for 10 years. And then we kind of parlayed that into a marketing company. And I've worked with everybody from go-kart racers to Cup drivers, going out and raising money so we could go play on the weekends. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, a lot
very
of fun.
good.
But
That's
had a
cool.
very good career. Got to travel a lot.
Yeah.
And, hang out with your buddies at the racetrack. That's the main thing.
That's right. Nothing better than that.
No.
Now, whereabouts did you get started? Were you in the Carolinas, or were you down? Well, you ran down here for a while too, didn't you?
No, never got to race here. I grew up in Virginia.
Oh, in Virginia. You don't sound like a Virginia guy.
Yeah, well,
I'll be
I've been a
darned.
transplant now for a really long time. So. But we raced all over North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, West
Is that
Virginia.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, short track stuff.
Okay, we were talking about Langley Speedway here a little while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and Bobby Allison coming up there and showing them how to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a great little racetrack, isn't it?
Yeah, and Bobby could pretty much show him how to do it anywhere he went. It didn't
Oh,
matter where
buddy,
it was
you're
or
not
what
kidding.
kind. Yeah,
Exactly.
He's going to be missed greatly.
Oh yeah, were you a Bobby fan?
Oh, you gotta be. You
Yeah.
gotta be. Yeah.
That's right. What's your favorite Bobby Allison story?
Gosh, too many to tell. I don't know what my favorite story would be, but I can tell you I'm most happy that they finally went ahead and gave him that
Amen.
85th win.
Yes,
It was
sir.
Very deserving.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they never put it in the record books because that didn't hurt my other good friend, Richard Petty.
Oh, that's right.
He still got his 200 victories, and that's very important. to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if they had awarded that race to Richard, who finished second, he would have had 201.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, but nobody ever got to it. But see, the thing is, Bobby was tied with Darrell Waltrip for a long time with 84 wins.
That's right.
And I think it might have been maybe a little political. You know, Darrell was their fair-haired boy, and Bobby was the one who was always poking the bear. And I think it might have been a gotcha after a while, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm sure Darrell was the only one not happy about it.
I'm sure.
So,
yeah,
but
he would pout.
that's just the racer,
Exactly.
competitor.
Yeah, that's like Richard Petty. He came up to me at the Hall of Fame, and this was for the third class of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and they had the TV there, and they're announcing the inductees and all this stuff. And he calls me over. He says, "You got an ambulance outside?" I said, "No, why?" He said, "Well, Richard, no." He said, "If Darrell don't get in this time, you're going to need one." Because Darrell was known to pout a little bit.
Oh, just a little.
Yeah, but he finally got in, and everything's fine. The world is right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. No, so who was your favorite driver?
The one who paid me.
Ah, there you go.
That's what I always tell people.
Okay.
Now, obviously, been a Richard Petty fan since I was a child.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh,
and,
yeah. It's
and
hard-
always will be.
Hard not to be a Richard fan, for sure.
Yeah, but
Best Richard Petty story you have?
just the first time I came to Daytona Beach with Ronnie Thomas in
Now, you do
Gosh,
sound just like
83.
Ronnie Thomas.
well, don't hold that against me.
Oh, that's
but
okay.
We did grow up in the same part of
Ronnie
the
was a
country.
Virginia boy, wasn't he?
He was Christiansburg.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so when I came down here the first time with Ronnie in '83, we had the first Advance Auto Parts sponsorship.
Oh, no kidding.
And, of course, me being a kid, you know, and always looking up to Richard, Bobby, and all those guys, when they saw that Advance Auto Parts car that Ronnie drove, Richard walked by and kind of patted me on the shoulder and said, "That's a good-looking race car." And I was like a 12-year-old girl, you know. I just, and then we went to a little diner up on A1A one morning, and I was sitting there having breakfast, and somebody nudged me and said, "Hey, son, hand me that salt and pepper." And I reached over, and when I turned to hand it to him, it was Junior Johnson.
Whoa.
And I literally about fell off the stool.
Holy
So
cow. Isn't that something? Well, that's pretty neat. I know
Those are legends.
that's great stuff. I know Fireball Roberts' wife, Doris, had told me a story about how she and her granddaughter, was sitting in a diner one time, and she loved Alan Kowicki, the little girl. She just loved Alan Kowicki. So they were in the diner one time, and there's Kowicki in there eating breakfast. So she says, "Grandma, can I go over and ask him for his autograph?" She said, "No, you wait till he's all done eating. You know, I'll tell you when you can go." So she went ahead and said, "Okay, you can go on over there now. Just don't bother him." So she went up and says, "You're my favorite driver." And she said, "Can I have your autograph?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So she said, "My grandfather was Fireball Roberts." He said, "What?" He said, "I should be asking you for your autograph."
You got it.
That was pretty slick. That made that little girl's day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, do we have any drivers like that anymore? Yeah, we got some guys that can drive really good, but, you know, the Bobby and Richard and all the, those kind of guys were just the whole package. And, you know, they just, I don't know, they're just so sharp and so nice and just like one of the guys. You know, I don't know if you get much of that anymore in racing. Yeah.
I would say, in my opinion, the guy who compares to Bobby Allison this day and age is Kyle Larson. You know, because they always told Bobby Allison he could drive anything.
Yeah.
And they say the same thing to Kyle Larson.
Yeah, he's
Boy,
a wheel
that's
man,
true.
that's for
Yeah.
sure.
He's tough little bugger.
He can run anything.
That's for sure. Yeah, I was hoping he was going to make the finals this year, but maybe next year. But he's either go or blow, though. He's like Buddy Baker used to be. You know, put your foot in it and just go till you win or you hit something.
Yeah. What did you think about the outcome?
I was kind of hoping for Reddick. I think that would have been a lot of fun.
Right.
I didn't want the Toyota.
No?
I didn't want the Toyota.
Nope. Okay.
No.
All right.
No. I wanted to stay with Ford or GM.
Uh-huh.
You know, myself personally.
Yeah.
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 It was a good end to the year, though. A
It
lot of
was.
exciting moments.
Oh, sure.
To get them there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you see how hard Blaney ran to track down Joey. He really put a day's work in there for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back with Mike Condon,
Thanks,
our surprise guest.
Thank you.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1- and 2-bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Gary Keller.
All righty then. Thank you. Hey, this segment's being brought to you by Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, voted one of the top 5 markets in the country by USA Weekend. Visit our Shop Now network and our Shop Now at the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market Facebook page for the latest in vendor tours. So, what you doing these days?
Well, like I said, I'm a commercial manager for Rick Hendrick at one of his Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, Jeep dealerships. So we sell plumbers and electricians and police cars and
I got
all
you.
that good stuff.
Okay.
So, get to be home at night and on the weekends now, so that's a nice change.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you based?
Concord, North Carolina.
Oh,
very,
are you
very
really?
near Charlotte Motor
Okay.
Speedway.
Yeah, we lived up there for about 10 years, and I really miss it. It's such a lovely area, and the people are nice, and traffic's bad, but we learned to deal with it, though.
Yeah, well, it's the good thing about my job is I'm literally right in front of the motorsports complex.
Oh, nice.
So I do about as many visits, with people through motorsports, give them tours and stuff like that.
Oh, that's super.
We sell a lot of vehicles because of Rick Hendrick's involvement. So
I would say so.
Yeah,
Well,
really
I hear they had a big renovation up there. I haven't been there in about 7 years, but I hear that they went ahead and did a lot of changing.
Yeah, they're always growing, and he's actually involved now with Charlotte Motor Speedway on a road course they're building just across the street from the main
you're
speedway.
kidding. Is that right?
I heard that.
It's going to be a beautiful facility.
Oh, my gosh. Is that right? No more Roval?
No, I think that's going to last, but this is just more of a testing
Oh,
facility.
okay. I got you. Well, that's great.
Ford Performance and those guys utilize it quite a bit.
How many dealerships does Rick have now?
Ooh, about 120.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Isn't that amazing?
Probably 12,000 employees overall.
Started out with a used car lot, man.
Yeah, everybody that's in this business starts with humble beginnings, and a lot of people just don't know that story.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a self-made man for sure.
That's for sure.
Yep.
And he never talks about it. Never talks about his money.
Right.
Doesn't really say anything about his successes that he's had.
That's
but
right.
he's had plenty, I'll tell you.
Yep.
And, everybody says, well, GM gave him the opportunity, NASCAR kissed his ass, but let me tell you something. The guy worked for every bit of it, man. He was a smart dude all the way through.
Yeah. Well, most people that would say that, they don't know how NASCAR works very well because it appears sometimes they show favorites, but I think Buzz can attest to the fact they don't care who wins. They just want it to be a good show.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, there's no favorites. That's for sure. And Bill France Jr. used to say the sport is bigger than any one person. Yeah. And he told that to Earnhardt. And he says, you can do it our way or you can go plant corn.
There are several big drivers they had that discussion with.
That's right.
One of my other favorites, Kelly Yarborough.
Oh boy, that's Tony's favorite,
he
and
used
that
to
was
race.
Mine too.
He used to
Never
race
met,
little
and
never,
Gary's favorite.
never met the man I would have loved. I would have done anything if I could have met him. Him and David Pearson.
Right.
I'm so envious of you guys.
Oh,
man.
Pearson was
What
a
was
trip.
Kale like in your opinion? He not kind,
Oh,
of, kind of a no-nonsense guy, wasn't he? In a lot of ways?
Absolutely one of the best ever to turn a steering wheel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the nicest guy. Yeah. Tony, you got something for us?
Yeah.
Hey, we gotta
Tony
give
time.
Tony
We get him
a
up.
little
We get
applause
him.
here.
We get him 3 times today. That's a treat, baby.
You work for Dodge Ram.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen the new Charger? Have you driven the electric one? Have you driven the gas one? Or have you driven anything with that twin turbo 6-cylinder?
We don't have one just yet at my particular dealership. I have seen one, and my wife's here, so don't tell her I said this. But when they come out, there may be one in our driveway. You just never know. So they're beautiful, and what I like is that they're so close to what the '72 Charger looked like.
Oh, no kidding.
If we could just get somebody now to put one of Richard Petty paint schemes on one, we'd really have something.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that'd be awesome.
They're going to be very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when's Dodge coming back to NASCAR?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
Is it Fiat that's holding them back?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
No.
You wonder, because
It's,
that's really kind of when things disappeared, or you always heard talk that they were coming back, and then Fiat, the purchase, came to grips, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you wonder. We could use a little bit more competition, I think. There was rumblings a number of years ago that Volkswagen was going to come, Mercedes was coming in, and all this.
Honda.
Yeah, Honda, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, the real trivia question right now is, since the Camaro is not coming back in 25, the teams are going to be allowed to use the Camaro next year.
Oh, interesting.
But what's going to happen after
After that.
Yeah, right. Because normally you only have 3 years on any particular body style. At least how that has been traditionally.
Of course, they went with the Monte Carlo when Camaro went away the last time.
Yeah.
Right. You know, GM is coming back with a new Chevelle, though.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a
I didn't know
replacement.
about that.
And the new Cadillac would be a very nice looking.
Oh, wouldn't it be cool to
stock
have a
car also.
Cadillac?
Yes.
They ran caddies back in the early days of NASCAR. And everybody thought that a big, heavy car was the way to go, and they found out that a light car is probably the best way to go.
Right.
Yeah, when the first Southern 500, Johnny Mance won it in a little 6-cylinder Plymouth.
Yeah.
And all the caddies, all they did was just blow tires.
Yeah.
So
Does NASCAR still excite you now, like it
yeah.
used to?
Oh,
You still got the
it's
fever?
part of my life every day.
Yeah.
I can't help it. Even though I'm not directly in the business,
yeah.
You're right
like I
there.
said, I do more tours at Hendrick Motorsports than I do selling vehicles, really. So
Yeah.
It's a great pleasure to be part of that team, though.
Oh boy, I guess. Well, it's really your family, though, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I bet you can't wait to get to work in the morning, right?
Most days. It was also good to get away and get down here for a while.
Oh,
so.
good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Look at the beauty, man. Just can't
Oh, I
beat
tell you,
this.
it's hard to beat.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, so, Kelly Yarborough, boy, there was nobody like him. He was just as tough as he came. And
Still kept the same house there in South Carolina for years, all
Yeah.
those years, didn't he? They had a farm,
Yep.
some land right
yeah,
there.
he could, several hundred acres.
Loved the farm.
Yeah. He told me the cutest story. He said, I'm walking through the infield at Charlotte one day, and this little black kid comes up, and he's got this piece of paper with him, and he says, Mr. Yarborough, you're my favorite driver. Can I have your autograph? So he said, I opened the paper up, and there's Richard Petty, and there's David Pearson, and he says, I'm way back here. And he said, if I'm your favorite driver, how come I'm running third? He said, no, man, you ain't third. You're fixing to lap them guys.
Good answer.
That's classic.
He said, I'd like to find that kid today and make him a salesman for my dealership.
Yeah, that's classic.
Oh, that was really good stuff. Well, we've had a great time today and a few surprises, and everything worked out real well.
Thanks for filling in, man.
Yeah,
It was
how
a
about a big round of
surprise to
applause
me.
for Mike
Yeah.
Cava?
Thank you.
Fantastic. Really, really helped. And everybody who contributed, we thank you so much.
Yeah,
and we
thanks,
thank Danny for running the board today.
Yeah.
Well, and Mike and Dave for the applause signs.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll keep him around for another week, especially Mike. We'll think about it.
Yeah, we sure hope so. Yeah, Mike, your job is secure with us.
Yeah,
You're okay.
And thank you guys for coming in.
Yep.
sorry about the beer, the way it's kind of turned out, but we always try to make it up a little bit here or there.
Yeah.
We just appreciate everybody coming and being part of our family.
Oh, that's for sure. Speaking of family, I know that we lost my mom a couple of weeks ago, and today would have been her 96th birthday.
Wow.
And up until about a month before she passed away, she was still riding on the back of motorcycles.
That's amazing.
She was quite a gal.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So we're going to go to her favorite pizza place tonight in her honor.
A great soul.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yes, sir. Well, we're going to line somebody up next week who's going to show up. Okay.
Yeah, this doesn't happen very. Usually, if we ask somebody to come, they're here and honored to be. But maybe they forgot, or maybe a family emergency. You just never know.
Yeah, this is our 335th or 36th show. And, I'll tell you what, for our 300th show, we had Jeff Bodine and Ernie Irvin here at the same time.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Great show, too.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, folks. We do appreciate you coming in, and you never know what you're going to show up with there. So
thanks, everybody.
Just keep drinking past Blue Ribbon.
We love you.
We'll see you next week.
The Legends of Racing radio show originates live from the very spot where beach racing began.